Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Sadguru Charanaravinda-bhyam Namaha. Brahma Sutras, Chapter 3, Adhikaranam 1, Tadantara Pratipadhyadhikaranam. Tadantara Pratipattau Ramhati Samparishvaktaha Prashna Nirupanabhyam Trayatmakatvat Thum Bhuyastvat Pranagatescha Agniyati Gatishruteriti Chet Na Bhaktatvat Prathame Ashravanadi Chet Na Ta Evahi Upapattehe Ashrutvaditi Chet Na Ishtadhikarinam Pratitehe Bhaktam Va Anatma Vitvat Tatahi Darshayati. With this sutra, we saw in the last class, the first adhikaranam of chapter 3 is over. Now the subject matter is Jiva Gatihi. The doubt is whether Jiva travels with physical body or not. And the Purvapakshi says that Jiva does not travel with the body. And Siddhantin says Jiva does travel with a minute, invisible physical body, which is not used for transactions. We saw up to this in the last class. Now let us go to the next adhikaranam, second adhikaranam of chapter 3. Kritatyayadhikaranam, Kritatyayadhikaranam, Kritatyaye Anushayavane Drishta Smrtibhyam Yathetam Anevancha. Kritatyaye Anushayavane Drishta Smrtibhyam Yathetam Anevancha. 8th Sutra of first pada, 3rd chapter, 299th running Brahma Sutra. And this is the second adhikaranam with 4 sutras. And this deals with Jivasya Agatihi, that is Jiva's arrival. And the previous adhikaranam dealt with Jiva's departure. And this deals with Jiva's arrival. And especially those who have enjoyed in Swargaloka, those who have gone to Swargaloka, how they arrive back. Those who have no punya, they pass through Swarga. They don't stay there. And they cannot enjoy Swarga Sukha. Some Jivas, they have break journey. Now we know break journey and all. And they travel. Some continue to travel. And if there is punya, there the body will have the necessary appropriate transformation and they will enjoy. You know all these things. Conversion, Jalasariram, Somasariram and all that. And they will return to this loka. And the doubt here is whether the Jiva comes down with any karma or not. Any residual karma or not is the question. When the Jiva comes back. Whether one would have exhausted all the karmas when one returns back to earth. And what is the view of Purvapakshi here? He says, karma rahitaha agacchati. He comes back, the Jiva comes back without any residual karma, and he would have exhausted all the karmas in Swargaloka. And in support of this also, he quotes a Shruti Vakyam from Chandogya Upanishad, 5th chapter, 10th section, 5th mantra. And there he says, Tasmin yavat sampatam ushitva ata yetameva advanam punarnivartante yatetam akasham akashat vayum vayur bhutva dhumo bhavati dhumo bhutva abram bhavati. So the relevant expression here is what? Yavat sampatam ushitva. That is the first line. Here sampatam here means expiry or exhaustion. And Shankaracharya translates sampataha as karma kshayaha. Until exhaustion of all karmas, one lives in Swargaloka. And as one leaves Swargaloka, one would have exhausted all the karmas. So Purva Pakshi quotes this particular sentence from Chandogya as a support. And there is a second Shruti Vakyam also quoted by the Purva Pakshi, that is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 4th chapter, 4th section, 6th mantra. Tatesha shloko bhavati, tateva saktaha, saha karmanaiti lingam manaha, yatra nishaktamasya, prapyantam karmanastasya, yatkinjeha karotyayam, tasmat lokat punaraiti, asmai lokaya karmana itinu kamayamanaha. Ata akamayamanaha yaha akamo nishkamaha bhavati aptakamaha and natasya prano utkramanti brahmaiva san brahmapnoti. So the essence of this mantra, let me just only paraphrase that. That is exhausting the results of whatever karma, works he did in this world, one comes back again from that world, Swargaloka, for fresh work in Bhuloka. So in Swargaloka, he sees to it that all the Punya Papa karmas ends before he returns to the world. And the Upanishad also says that he comes back to Bhuloka for earning further income in the name of good and bad karmas. This is whose argument? Purva Pakshi's argument. And Siddhanta is given in the Adhikaranam as karma sahitaha agacchati. That is what Siddhanta says. He gives his support also. He comes back with karma. Purva Pakshi says he exhausts all the karma. Whereas Siddhanta says he comes back with karma. And he gives support, his support also, Siddhantin. He gives Shruti and Yukti Anubhava both also. And Shruti given by Siddhanta is again Chandogya Upanishad 5th chapter, 10th section, 7th mantra. That this is a very important mantra. This will be often quoting. Tadya iha ramaniya charanam abhyashoha yette ramaniyam yonim apadyeran brahmana yonim va kshatriya yonim va vaishya yonim va ataya iha kupaya charana abhyashoha yette kapuyam yonim apadyeran kapuya charana shvayonim va sukara yonim va chandala yonim va. Different, they take different types of births. They come down to Bhuloka with Punya Papa karmas and are born as Manusyas. And there are some people who come down with Papa karma and there are some who come down with Punya karma. Both happens. And in Swargaloka, can't we earn Punyam and Papam? Or Papam, either of them. We say in Swargaloka, some amount of karma, that is Swarga Prarabdha Punyam alone are exhausted. Whatever karma is in the prarabdha karma, whatever karma is responsible for a person to go to Swargaloka, that karma alone is exhausted in Swargaloka. All karmas cannot be exhausted in one life, and Sanchita karma will continue. That punya which is conducive to Swarga alone, according to that prarabdha, that alone is exhausted. Only if one has the punyam for Manusya Janma, even after Swargaloka, he has to come back to this earth and not stay longer in Swargaloka after this is exhausted. But in some cases, the next karma fructifying may be papam. And this is decided by Lord alone. Because what is in the line, in the Sanchita karma bundle, Lord alone knows. We don't know. So it may be a papa karma and that may lead to a different birth. Now let us do the general analysis of the first sutra. The jiva will come with karma in different proportion, and for that there are Shruti and Smriti pramanas, and logic also, Yukti also is there. That's what Siddhantin says. And Vyasacharya, he does not mention, but Shankaracharya gives. We have already mentioned actually the Shruti pramanam, just now we saw. Now we will see the Smriti pramanam also. And Shankaracharya quotes the Smriti that is from Gautama Gauna Pramanam, that is the first chapter, second section, 27th mantra of this particular Gautama Gauna, that is a Smriti Grantham. And it says, Varna Ashramascha Swakarma Nishtaha Pretya karmapalam anubhuya tataha sheshena vishishta desha jati kula rupayuhum shrutam vrittam vittam sukha medasau janma pratipadyante. The Smriti says, those who follow varnashrama dharma properly while living, they need not do any extra dharma, and scriptural discipline will take them to Sargaloka. That itself is adequate. And having gone to Sargaloka, they will enjoy the karma phalam. Tata sheshena. In the second line, Tata sheshena visitta desha jati kula rupayuhu. That tataha sheshena, after enjoying punyam in Sargaloka, whatever is remaining, they will have unexhausted karma. That is a sesha karma. Such karmas are called sesha karma, residual karma. They will take birth in specific jati depending on that karma. They may be rich people, they may be poor people, male, female, black, white, all are determined by the sesha karma, whatever is remaining. And finally, sesha karma includes the entire sajja karma bundle. Finally, even buddhi largely is dependent on purva karma only. The Shruti and Shruti Pramanas both are in support of this, to Siddhanti. And here Vyasacharya says that the Shruti describes various stages of Krishna Gati through which one will travel after death. In the last class, we saw this Krishna Gati and Shukla Gati, briefly we mentioned. And several stages are mentioned in Chandogya. And after going to Swargaloka, the returning stages are also mentioned in Chandogya Upanishad. And if you see the various stages, we find some of the stages are common also. Some stages are there in onward journey, and some onward journey means from here to Sargaloka, and some in return journey back to Bhuloka or whatever other loka they are going to go in. Now, this is the substance, the general analysis of the sutra, essence. Now, let us give the word analysis. Kritatyaye anushayavanem drishta smritibhyam yatetam anevancha. Kritatyaye means when the karmas are exhausted in Sargaloka. Anushayavan, with the residual karma, whatever is all the punya karmas, prarabdha karma that enabled the person to go to the Sargaloka, they are all exhausted. Still the sanchita karma bundle is still remaining with the residual karma. Yatetam, when they return through the same stages, all the stages we already saw, 5 stages and all. Cha anevam, also through different stages. Drishta smritibhyam, as revealed. Drishtaha means here as revealed. By smritibhyam, Shruti and Smriti. This is the general meaning. Now we will see the significance of the word. Kritatyaye karma. It refers to going to Swarga Bhoga Pradana karma. Whatever bundle, whatever prarabdha karma enabled the person to go to Swargaloka and enjoy all the enjoyments in Swargaloka, that karma. Atyayam means exhaustion. So all the punyas do not give Swarga Sukham. Some give Bhuloka Sukham also. While living, they would have got good wealth, they have got good health and all that also. So there are different grades of punyams. Depending on that, one will experience also different enjoyments. And the next word is what? Anushayavan. Anushayavan refers to the residual karma or sesha karma, not Swarga giving punyam, because it is already exhausted. The moment they go to Swarga and stay there, whatever punya responsible for going to Swargaloka and enjoying the enjoyments there, that gets exhausted. And not agami, because they do not acquire any fresh karma there. It means what? Sanchita karma then. So whichever part turns to be prarabdha to be enjoyed at the next birth. That is whatever sanchita karma, that bundle, whatever fructifies, which is going to give the prarabdha karma for the next birth. Drishta smritibhyam. That jiva has got residual karma that is proved through what? Drishtam. That means Shruti Pramana. Okay, Drishtam means whatever is revealed by the Shruti. That is the Pramana. So through Shruti and Smriti Pramana, we come to know. Agachati, that is to be understood. Arrival coming back. Yata yitam. The stage through which he went earlier, that is in certain portion, he went upwards, not in all segments, but in some stages, in all the 5 stages we described. And in some cases, yata yitam anevam. In certain segments, this segment is taken different path. Even in heavenly path, there is one-way traffic in heavenly path. This is the meaning of the sutras. Now we will give the reason that there are certain sanchita karma remains. The reason is no jiva can exhaust all the karmas in one janma. It's not possible. All the karmas cannot be, because in one janma one would have done a great karma like Ashwamedha Yajna or some other big yajna he might have done with lot of punyam. In some other janma, the same guy might have done some very big papam. So to exhaust both of them, one cannot have the same janma. So it is logically impossible to exhaust all karmas in one janma, and it requires different experiences which will give sukham and dukkham according to the karmas. And different experiences require different bodies. A male body cannot experience the female body. It can be experienced only when one gets appropriate body, those kinds of experiences. And not only we require different body, but also we require different environments also. No one can exhaust all the karmas in one janma. And the second reason is, if a person exhausts all the karma in Swargaloka, then Shankaracharya argues, where is the question of coming down? If all the karmas, including sanchita karma, everything is all exhausted in Swargaloka itself, where is the question of coming down? Because the jiva will be a liberated jiva. The very coming is decided by karma only. And when karma is not there, he will not have to come down at all. And the third reason is, let us assume that a jiva exhausted all the karmas in Swargaloka. He cannot come down. However, for argument's sake, let us assume a person with zero karma balance comes down. Then tell me, where will he come down? What type of body the jiva will take? Because both are determined by what? By karma only. And if there are no karmas, jiva will not be able to take the appropriate body and will not be born in an appropriate environment. And without karma, if he takes any body, that will become what? Reasonless rebirth. One cannot be reborn without a reason, without a cause. So it will be chance-based janma then. For Vaidikas, accident does not exist. We don't, in Vedanta, we don't have all these accidents and probabilities and all that. For Vaidikas, chance means prarabdham only. When we say chance, it is prarabdha. Accident is only an incident whose cause we are not able to trace. Accident in Vedanta is only an incident whose cause we are not able to trace. As the human knowledge increases, the accidents will be converted to incidents. This is the third argument. And because of these three arguments, karmas should be accepted. When they come back, they have to bring karmas. Balance will be there. And if they are residual karmas, why could Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka say that Swarga Jiva exhausts all the karmas? If there is residual karma, but these two quotations that we read, they say they exhaust the karmas. Here, exhaustion of all karmas should be translated as the prarabdha karma alone is exhausted. It is not all karmas, all prarabdha karmas are exhausted. That alone is logical interpretation, because all the sanchita karmas can never be exhausted in a particular janma or even in many janmas. If there is a method of sanchita exhaustion, what will happen? Some people may say that I do not require jnanam at all. Sanchita can be exhausted. Actually, even all the Purva Mimamsakas, that's what they were all telling. Karmas, I can get through karma, I can go to liberation. Then Purva Pakshi comes with one more argument. He says, in the interpretation of your Siddhantin, there is a defect. Purva Pakshi says that there is a defect in the interpretation of Siddhantin. He says, you people say exhaustion of all karmas means exhaustion of prarabdha only. That means what? In your Siddhantin's interpretation, you reduce the intensity of the word and you say all karma means all prarabdha karma only. You say all karma, you say only all prarabdha karma. Thus, what do? You restrict the meaning of the word karma. Then the Purva Pakshi, he gives another interpretation also. He says, all the Sanchita karmas are as though exhausted. They are as though exhausted. Then if that is the case, then there is a different problem. If Sanchita karmas are exhausted also, then one will get liberated. And he has to come back for getting liberated. Suppose a person empties oil from a vessel. Swamiji gives this example. If one empties oil from a vessel and keeps the vessel there, and next day he finds oil there in the vessel. Oil from the vessel is still there. He finds oil there. And what is that oil? The oil that is sticking to the wall of the vessel still is there. Similarly, he says, in Swargaloka also, he will exhaust all the karmas and then some Swarga Punyam will be left over, like oil sticking to the walls of the vessel, and that Punya is called Anushaya. In this mantra, there is this word Anushaya. And that Anushaya is that Punya karma that is sticking to the wall. Now everything is explained properly. Why cannot you interpret like this? He is asking. Parvi Shankaracharya says, I would like to accept what you are saying. But what is the problem? If the residual karma is the Swarga Punyam sticking to the Jiva, then Shruti would say that Jiva comes down with residual karma, but Shruti says that there is residual papam also. Not just only residual papam punya, both are there. Not just only punya palam. Then the entire coming down, because Swargaloka comes because of what? Punya. And so in Swargaloka, after exhausting, some residual is sticking to the wall. That residual sticking to the wall, that karma should be only punya karma. But Shruti says that there is residual papam also. Then the entire coming down jiva will have residual punya alone. If that is the case, sticking thing is only punya karma, but both are there. So Vyasacharya actually quotes from Chandogya Upanishad, 5th chapter, 10th section, 7th mantra, in support of this claim. And he says, Tadyayeha Ramaniya Charanam Abhyashoham Yatte Ramaniyam Yonimapadyeran Brahmana Yonim Va, Kshatriya Yonim Va, Vaishya Yonim Va, Atayayham Kapuya Charanam Abhyashoha Yatte Kapuyam Yonimapadyeran Shvayonim Va, Sukara Yonim Va, Chandala Yonim. This Kapuya Charanaha, that thing represents all the Papa karmas. Ramaniya Charana refers to all the Punya karma. Depending on that thing, they may be born to Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Brahmana Yoni, Kshatriya Yoni, Vaishya Yoni, and all that thing. Whereas Kapuya Charanaha, he will be Shvayonim, like a dog's Yoni, Sukara Yoni, Chandala Yoni. They may be born in such that lower births also. So the fact that Ramaniya Charanaha, that relates to Sanchita karma, Sanchita Punya Papa karma, only Punya karma particularly, and therefore that interpretation is not correct. All prarabdha alone is exhausted, Sanchita remains, and with that the jiva comes down. Now let us go to the next sutta. Charanaditi chete na upalakshanarteti karshna jenihi. 9th sutra, 1st pada, 3rd chapter, 300th running Brahma Sutra. Charanaditi chete na upalakshanarteti karshna jenihi. So after dealing with the jiva gati in the first adhikaranam, in the second adhikaranam, now we take into account those jivas who go to Swargalokas, exhaust their punyas, and come back again on rebirth. And the question being discussed is what? Whether all karmas are exhausted and jiva comes without any karma, or whether the jiva comes back with residual karma. That's Sesha karma. And this doubt why it comes? Because of certain Upanishadic statement which said that one exhausts all karmas. And Vyasacharya refuted Purvapakshi and said in Swargaloka one will exhaust only Swarga Punyas arising out of Prarabdha alone. Then Jiva comes down with the next bunch of Prarabdha culled from Sanchita, which will be Punya or Papa Pradha. We don't know. Thus, Jiva may be born as Manushya if Punya is enough to be reborn as Manushya. Also, Vyasacharya gives the Chandogya Upanishad Shruti in support of this also. That was in 5th chapter, 10th section, 7th mantra, which we already saw in the last sutra, Tadye Ramaniya Charanaha, that particular mantra. I won't read it again. So this is a mantra we just read. So from here, two words were taken. One is this Ramaniya Charanaha and Kapuya Charanaha. So two things, Ramaniya Charanaha and Kapuya Charanaha. And Kapurya Charanaha refers to Papa Karmas, Papa Karma Charanaha. And Purvapakshi, then he raises a question, Ramaniya Charana, Punya Karmas. In which dictionary you find the meaning that Charanam means karma? Purvapakshi asks this question. Ramaniya Charana, Kapuya Charana. Charana, you are interpreting that word as karma. In which dictionary you find the meaning Charana is equal to karma? And according to Purvapakshi, Charanam means acharanam, acharaha, conduct, behavior, or religious lifestyle, or religious customs, religious manners. That is acharaha, acharanam. This is one meaning. And the word karma is different from acharaha also. Karma and achara are not same. Karma and achara are not identical. That is what the argument by Purvapakshi. And for that also he quotes a mantra from Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, first valli, 11th mantra, 11th section, 3rd mantra. Yanyana vadyani karmani, tani sevitavyani, no yitarani, yanyasmakagum sucharitani, karmani sucharitani, tani tvayopasyani, no yitarani, eke chasmachreyagum so brahmanaha. Tesham tvayasanena prashvasitavyam shraddhaya deyam ashraddhaya deyam shriya deyam kriya deyam bhiya deyam samvida deyam. All these are acharas. Guru gives the warning to Shishya. Only with respect to good action, he should take him as a model. With regard to good conduct, follow us. With regard to good action, you take us as a model. And the relevant portion for this in this mantra is what? Yanyana vadyani karmani, yanyasmakakam sucharitani, tanitvayo pasyani. No itarani. Therefore, Taittiriya Upanishad talks of sucharitam separately. And that is achara separately, and karmani separately, karma separately. So here we see charitam and karma are different. And Purvapakshi's argument is, Chandogya Vakyam does not refer to karma at all. Vyasacharya does not answer the question directly, but says this question is already answered by two other acharyas. So Vyasacharya doesn't want to confront these guys and try to convince them. He says this question is already answered by two other acharyas. Instead of answering the questions, I will quote the reference only. That's what Vyasacharya says. And he quoted that reference in this sutra, Karshnajini. Karshnajini is one of the acharyas, and another acharya whom Vyasacharya will quote, that comes in the 11th sutra. We will see itself today. And I will only mention that sutra now. Sukrita dushkrite eva iti tu badarihi. So that rishi is Badari. Here it is Karshnajini. And both of these acharyas, they point out the word charanam refers to karma only and not achara. And Karshnajini, what does he point out? He points out the word charanam means karma in the secondary sense, not in the primary sense. And he argues with Purvapakshi that direct word meaning is conduct only. He supports Purvapakshi in that thing, it's only conduct here when he takes karma. By implication, the secondary meaning only is karma. Charanam refers to only conduct. The secondary meaning is only karma according to him. Why? It is so because wherever good acharas are followed, good karmas will naturally follow. Achara and karmas are closely interconnected. Good conduct and good karma. People with good conduct will do good karmas. When sadacharas are dropped, satkarmas also will go away. Satkarmas will be fruitful only if they are backed by sadacharas, good acharas. If one does not follow sadachara and follows on one day only, on a rare occasion, the karma will become blunt. if they are not backed by acharas, disciplines. Therefore, Ramaniya Charana means Ramaniya Karmanaha only. Good karmas. Now let us see the word analysis. Charanath. Charanath refers to rebirth is because of one's religious discipline. That all we receive. Charanath means because of religious discipline, rebirth we have to supply. This is the view of Purvapakshi. Iti chet. If this is your objection, this is what you are arguing about, nah, it is not valid. Why? Upalakshanarthat. Lakshanam means implication. Secondary meaning, implied karmas. Secondary meaning means implied karmas. That is the view of what? Who? These Rishi Karshnajini. Now let us give the significance of the words. Charanath. Charanath means the word used in Chandogya mantra is charana and not karma. It uses the word charana and not karma. So you don't have the right to take the meaning of karma for charanam there. That is Purvapakshi's argument. And he says the Siddhanta is wrong. If such an objection is raised by the Purvapakshi and says Siddhanta is wrong, Siddhantin says, nah, it is not a valid objection. Then Upalakshanartha, implied meaning or implication, because of the implied meaning or the implication. The meaning of the charanam, the meaning of the word charanam or purpose of the word charanam is to give an implied meaning and not a direct meaning. The purpose of the word charanam is to give only an implied meaning and not a direct meaning. The word charana is employed to imply karma only in a secondary sense. We do not totally dismiss you, we agree. Charanam means conduct. Yes, that is correct. So, but it is given in a secondary sense here, karma. This is a suggestion given by Karshnajani. Now let us go to the next sutra. Anarthakyamidi chet, arthakyam anarthakyam. Idi chet, na tat apekshatvat. 10th sutra, first pada, third chapter. 301st running Brahma Sutra. Further objection also with respect to the word charana, the conduct that is raised and refuted here in this sutra. Now Purvapakshi, he raises the question that for the word charanam, you have not taken the primary meaning of conduct, but you have taken the secondary meaning of karma. He is telling Siddhanta. Then you argue that karma alone decides the next birth. This exposes the achara has no value. If you say karma alone decides the next birth, that means what? Achara has no value at all. And the implication is of several types also. Here where we are taking what is known as ajahal lakshana. There is a thing called ajahal lakshana, which includes the primary meaning also. Ajahal lakshana means ajahat plus lakshana. It means using a word in an elliptic meaning without depriving of its original significance. Therefore, ajahal lakshana is to be taken, and we should take the karma as achara sahita karma as the meaning. It is not just kevala karma, it is achara sahita karma, karma backed by achara. It is because Veda says mere karma without support of nitya naimittika karma is not sufficient. Nitya naimittika karma gives discipline. We are supposed to follow discipline in doing them. If the achara is not followed, no religious karma will bless him, including Vedadhyayanam. If achara is not there, even Vedadhyayanam will not bless a person. At the time of death, good karmas will not follow him if it is not backed by achara also, good conduct also. Just as the birds leave the nest, karmas also will leave. They won't give him any good palam if you do not have the proper achara, the discipline. Therefore, achara is included in the meaning of karma, and it is not jahal lakshana, but ajahal lakshana. Now let us do word analysis. So, anarthakyamiti iti chete na tat apekshatvat. That is the sutra. So, anarthakyam means religious discipline would become meaningless. Arthakyam, anarthakyam. It will become meaningless. Iti chet. If this is your objection, na, it is not valid. Tat apekshatvat, because karma depends upon religious discipline. Any karma one does depends upon religious discipline. This is the word meaning. Now, this is the running meaning. Now let us see the significance of the words. Anarthaki means purposelessness. Artha means purpose. Anarthaki means purposeless, without any purpose. If the Siddhanta focus is on the karma, leaving the achara part, it will convey the idea that achara is not important and karma alone is important. And people will give up achara. Iti chet, achara, if they give up, their discipline will be, there will be no discipline. Iti chet, if this is the objection, na, it is not valid. Why? Tad apekshatvat, karmanaha. Achara apeksham karma. Karma depends upon achara for its efficacy. Most of the karmas means rituals that should be done. For example, even in day-to-day life, many of these Vedic karmas, they are supposed to be done before eating food, after snanam, before eating food, all that. If that is not followed, then the karma is supposed to become inefficient karma. We cannot violate this unless on health grounds. If somebody is very sick, he cannot take bath and all that thing, or he cannot be without taking food, very chronic diabetic, that kind of people. Otherwise, only after taking snanam, after doing the karma, only one should take food. Karma includes achara, and that is why what we mean is ajahal lakshanam only. Many of the acharas cannot be followed today anyway. But at least to the extent should be followed, one should follow that. And the idea of achara varies from generation to generation also. What was followed in Treta and Dwapara Yugas cannot be followed today. There are a lot of variations. And where to draw the line, that is complicated. And it's not worth arguing on this subject at all, because it is very subjective. And according to Shastra, one should take bath in the morning and change dress. Without brushing the teeth, one should not take bed coffee and all that. Such are the suggestions of the Rishi. He didn't talk about bed coffee and all, I'm just telling. Such are the suggestions of Karshnajini, the Rishi. Now let us go to the next sutra. Sukruta dushkruta eva iti tu bhadarihi. This is the 11th sutra, first pada, third chapter, 302nd running Brahma Sutra. So further discussion on the meaning of the word charana is made here. And the sutra says that there is no difference between conduct and karma. There is no difference between conduct and karma. According to whom? To sage Badari. Earlier Karshnajini, now it is sage Badari. So according to the sage Badari, the phrases Ramaniya Charana and Kapuya Charana, if you remember that mantra which I quoted earlier, they mean good and evil deeds, evil works, good work and evil work. Ramaniya Charana, good work, Kapuya Charana, evil, bad work. So the word Charanam is Achara, all right. It means karma in the primary sense itself. The word Charanam, Achara is correct. It means, but karma in the primary sense itself, not the secondary sense. Now the question will come, if the primary meaning is karma, what about achara then? For that, Badri says, achara is also a form of karma only. When we say achara, conduct, it is also a form of karma only. Therefore, we do not make any difference between karma and achara according to him. Karma includes achara and achara includes karma. All are activities only. Then how in Taittiriya Upanishad, achara and karma are defined separately? We already read that particular section. Sucharitam and karma, how they are separated. For that he says, it is only an incidental differentiation for the general type of karma which is to be regularly practiced. But karma is used for specific things that come not so regularly. Certain karmas do not come regularly for specific occasions. So one is called, whatever is regularly done, that is called Samanya Kriya, and the other one is Vishesha Kriya. Only under certain circumstances you do those karma, and the other one is all the time one has to do. So achara applies to all, but karma differs to specific people. That is Vishesha karmas. This is Badari's opinion. This sage Badari's opinion. Now let us see the word analysis. What is the sutra? Sukrita dushkrita eva iti tu Badarihi. Sukrita dushkrite. Punya papa karma alone is the primary meaning of the word charanam according to the 5th chapter, 10th section, 7th mantra of Chandogya, which we just read. This is the view of whom? Sage Badari. Punya karma and Punya Papa karma alone is the primary meaning. And in support of this, Shankaracharya gives another Shruti Vakyam also. And the word charanam is controversial word here. That's what we have been talking about. And he says, wherever there is a vagueness, this we have gone through this kind of a discussion earlier also. Wherever there is a vagueness in Shruti, then you go to a corresponding idea where there is no vagueness in Shruti itself. So he quotes from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 3rd chapter, 12th, 2nd section, 13th mantra, Arthabhaga Brahmana. This we have quoted many times earlier also, this particular Brahmana. Whereas the student Arthabhaga was trying to, challenge Yagyavalkya, or learn from him. Karma haiva tat prasagum satuhum. Punyo vai punyena karmana bhavati papaha papeneti tatoham jarat karva atavaga upararama. So punyo vai punyena karmana bhavati papaha papeneti. Higher janma comes because of punya karma and inferior janma comes because of papa karma, and therefore charanam in Chandogya must refer to karma only. That is his argument. Now let us see the significance of the word. Here, Sukrita Dushkrite. Sukrita Dushkrite means Punya Papa Karma Charana. The Charana Shabda Arthaha is this Punya Papa Karma. Charana, for the word Charanam, this is what it means. The word Charanam refers to Punya Papa Karma. This is the primary meaning of the word Charanam and not Achara. According to this, it's not conduct. Eva, that alone is the meaning. Ititu Badarihi. This is the opinion of the sage Badari. Now, what will be the next question? What is the opinion of Vyasacharya? He quoted Kashnajini and Badari. What is his own opinion? That is not given here. We have to assume that Vyasacharya then accepts both interpretation equally, and he does not prefer one over the other. Even though some people say that he is interpreting Charanam, his interest is what? Only is interpreting Charanam as karma. He is not bothered whether it is primary meaning or secondary meaning. He wants to interpret Charanam as karma. But some people, they are of the opinion that Vyasacharya may be in favor of Badari's interpretation. Whatever be the interpretation, Charanam means karma according to Vyasa. And Jiva comes down with Punya Papa karma and not empty-handed. After enjoying Swargaloka, he is not coming back empty-handed. He is having still the bundle of Punya Papa karma from Sanchita bundle. And with this, the second Adhikaranam is also over. Now, before entering the third Adhikaranam, this is a point which we have talked in a couple of lectures earlier. I would just again dwell upon that also a little more for the sake of our own clarity before ending this Adhikaranam. So, the topic that I want to again touch upon it is, we left a portion of it while discussing the first Adhikaranam. And we thought that next physical body, at that time when we were talking about it, the next physical body will come later when it takes birth. That is the general belief. A person, when he dies, the next physical body one takes when he takes the next birth. And the conclusion was that the next physical body comes immediately on death itself, even though it is a non-operational, rudimental body in nature. We already mentioned that. That was a discussion we had. But it comes into being on death itself. At the time of death itself, the rudimentary body comes. And some people comment that the physical body comes even before death also. Because that rudimentary death, at death, before death, and after death. And the first group of people, they said much later, the body comes. Then some others said that the physical body comes immediately on death. Some more people say Jiva comes being before death. So such people quote a mantra in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad called Trinajala Ukha mantra. Trinajala Yuka mantra. It's a mantra with a caterpillar example. We have discussed this when we did Brihadaranyaka, a caterpillar example. It's a very interesting mantra. And what this mantra says is, Tadyatha Trinajala Yuka Trinasyantam Gatva Anyam Akramyam Atmanam Upasamharati Evamevayam Atme idagam Shariram Nihatyam Avidyam Gamayitvam Anyam Akramyam Atmanagam Upasamharati. This is one mantra. This is the third mantra. And the fourth mantra is Tadyatam Peshaskari Peshase Matragam Apadaya Anyannavataram Kalyanataragam Rupam Tanutam Evamevayam Atmedagam Shariram Nihatyam Avidyam Gamayitvam Anyannavataram Kalyanataram Rupam Kurutem Pitriyam Vam Gandharvam Vam Devam Vam Prajapatyam Vam Brahmam Vam Anyesham Va Bhutanam. It's a big mantra. Here the example is a caterpillar example. A caterpillar, it moves on the leaves. And when it wants to go from one leaf to another leaf, what it does, it catches hold of the next leaf. And after having caught hold of the next leaf, it slowly leaves the present leaf. Thereafter, it drops the present leaf. And in the same way, the jiva is caterpillar, and this body is the present leaf, and it leaves it only after having caught hold of the next body in our case. Caterpillar, next leaf, in our case, next body. So only after catching hold of the next body alone, this body is left. That is the argument, the caterpillar example. So according to this interpretation, there is time in the case of caterpillar. The front portion is in the next leaf. Because caterpillar, if you know, it's a long thing. So the front portion is already in the next leaf, and the back portion of the caterpillar is in the present leaf or the previous leaf. So also the jiva, it's all very interesting arguments. The jiva, while being with the present body, it is only after taking hold of the next body, slowly sheds off its present body. That is according to Brihadaranyaka. Caterpillar example. So keeping this Brihadaranyaka mantra as pramana, some people, they argue the body is received even before death. Right? It goes to the next leaf, means body is received even before death. This is quoted in the first mantra of the first section of the third chapter in Brihadaranyaka, and say it should not be taken. So jiva cannot be there simultaneously in two bodies. That is the argument. That argument should not be taken because a jiva cannot be there simultaneously in two bodies at the time of late stages of life when one has no strength to hold even one body. We are not talking about a healthy caterpillar here. A person who is about to die at the time of death, at the late stages of life, when one has no strength to even hold one's present body, at the time of death, he cannot hold another body. It should therefore be taken as mentally going to another place, not physically going, but mentally going to another place. The mind always thinks of the place first before we actually go to any new place. Always we think of the place first. Stretching of mind takes place even though physically we do not reach there. Mind stretches. When we reach the fag end of life, we think of life of the future. It is also said in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, when one is in the fag end of life, the prarabdha gets gradually released. And during swapna, he starts thinking of the future life. He is in a position of able to see the next part of life while experiencing the present life. Therefore, Shankaracharya says it is not literally leaving the body, but the vasanas, they get its influence in the present body, in present life. And actual getting the body takes place only after we drop the present physical body. With this, we complete the two adhikaranams or the first part of chapter 3. Now let us go to the third adhikaranam. Anishtadhikaryadhikaranam. This is the third adhikaranam of this chapter. Anishtadikarinam api cha shrutam. Anishtadikarinam api cha shrutam. 12th Sutra, first Pada, third chapter, 303rd running Brahma Sutra. The movement of persons during Papa Karmas, that is not described here. First, let us see the general introduction to this Adhikarana. This is a big Adhikarana with 10 sutras. Here also subject matter is the travel of Jiva after death. And the travel will continue until it gets a new body in the next Janma, that is after rebirth. And the doubt here is what? Whether the route, Panchagni Vidya route, we already saw that, Swarga, Mega, all that thing. Panchagni Vidya route is applicable to all the Jivas, or it is only taken by some other Jivas. This is the doubt. And Purvapakshi says that this is the route to be taken by all the Jivas. All have to go to heaven. They have to go to the mega cloud, then come to earth, and then go to the male body, and then female body, and be born. And in support of this, he quotes the Kaushitaki Upanishad, first chapter, second mantra, which says all the Jivas who leave the Shariram and the world go to Chandraloka or Swargaloka. In Kaushitaki, he calls it Chandraloka, and take the route stated in the Panchagni Vidya. It's a long mantra, and the only relevant line only I will say, Sahovacha evaikecham asmal lokat prayanti chandramasameva te sarve gachanti. Te sarve gachanti. All of them go to Chandraloka. Then Siddhanta points out, no, and that Panchagni is not the route taken by all the Jivas. Panchagni Vidya is only of the three paths. Panchagni is one of the three, is only one of the three paths. It only reveals Krishna Gati, which is not the only path, and it is one of the three paths mentioned in the Shastras. What are the three paths? Shukla Gati, through which Jiva goes to Brahmaloka and attain Krama Mukti, that already I mentioned. If Upasakas take the Panchagni path, they will have to undergo birth and all that thing. In addition to the two paths, scriptures also talk about the third path called Adogati, the downward path. They go through neither Krishna Gati nor Shukla Gati, but they go to Adogati. But they go through Adogati, and this is stated in Chandogya. And they take inferior birth in Adogati, in lower lokas, or take birth of inferior jivas, like insects and those kinds of things. In Bhagavad Gita itself, we have seen, Urdhvam gachanti satvastaha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, jagan yuguna vrittistaha, adho gachanti tamasaha. So the jivas take all the three paths, depending upon the karmas. And another Shruti Vakyam says in Kathopanishad, first chapter, second section, sixth mantra, it says, Nasamparaya pratibhadi balam pramadyantam vitta mohena mudam ayam loko nasti parayiti mani puna vashamapadyate me. So puna vashamapadyate me. This indicates that all the jivas, they all go to Yamaloka, a place for suffering with bad karmas. So those who do not do karma and upasana, they get Yamaloka. Should do good karmas, upanas, all one has to do, otherwise they go to Yamaloka. This is one point established through this Adhikaram. And next point Vyasacharya establishes is, even those who take to Panchagni and be born as Manusyas, there is no rule that all the 5 stages must be there. All the 5 stages means what? Swarga, Mega, Earth, male, female, all that. All the 5 stages are there. They may be born as Manushya. There is no rule that all the 5 stages must be there. This is said also in the Puranas. The idea is that what? The 5 stages are possibility and not inevitability, not compulsory. And the second point is, even in Krishna Gati, 5 stages are possibility only and not compulsory. From this we come to know that Panchagni Vidya does not answer the question that says all about the travel of Jiva after death. It is not a comprehensive topic, but only it hints the travel after death. And the aim of Panchagni Vidya is what? Is not to teach us where Jiva goes after death. There are infinite possibilities to decide which route Jiva gets after death. The Jiva happens only, the death happens only after exhaustion of Prarabdha, or before also. And this topic is so big with varieties of Jivas. And therefore, Veda does not want us to know the possibilities. There are so many varieties, possibilities. It is so because this has nothing to do with what? Moksha. What is Veda's interest? It wants us to get moksha. All those infinite possibilities, we don't have to know and academically get a PhD on that. If you have to only strive to get moksha, what is the only path? That alone we need to know. So Veda doesn't emphasize and enumerate each other. There is no use to read books on life after death. So if this be the case, why should Veda talk about Panchagni Vidya at all? Panchagni Vidya is taught only for meditation or upasana purpose. And the second purpose for Panchagni Vidya is for a person to develop vairagya with respect to Punarjanma, rebirth, and after the cycle of birth and death. So it does not deal with all the possibilities. So this is the background for this Adhikaran. Because it's a big Adhikaran, I wanted to give us general background. Now let us do the general analysis of the Purvapakshi. This particular sutra that we read is a Purvapakshi sutra. And he says, all jivas will go through the 5 stages based on the Kaushitaki Upanishads. Even if one is a Papa Karmi, he will also go through the 5 stages of Panchagni. This is the essence of this first sutra. Now let us do the word analysis of this sutra. Anishtadikarinam apicha shrutam. That is the sutra. The word shrutam, that means the travel after death is to heaven, is mentioned in the Shruti. Shrutam means from in the Shruti it is mentioned. What is mentioned? Travel after death to heaven. With respect to non-ritualists also, who are not karmis, even with respect to non-ritualists also. Apicha. Anishtadikarinam. So the significance of the sutra is what? Anishtadikaranam refers to, generally the word ishtam means Vedic ritual. Ishta, purtam, ishta karmas, purta karmas and all that thing is basic rituals, ishtis and all. Karinaha means the performance of ishta, those who do all those things. So adi means etc. So anishtadikaranam means those who do not do ishtam, dattam, all this yajnam, all this yagas, all those. So even those people who do not do upasana, good karmas and all those, the final means what? Final meaning is papa karminaha. Papa karminaha ityartha. Such people also, for those papa karmis also, Panchagni Dwara, heaven travel is accepted. Even for those people also, that travel is accepted. Who says all this? The Purvapakshi Sutra, we should understand. And the next word is apicha. Not only Punya karmis will go to heaven, but also Papa karmis also may go to heaven. For him, Shrutam is Kaushitaki Upanishad quotation. This is the Purvapakshi Sutra. And Siddhanta, he will come and refute it. Because he says, even Papa karmis, they also may go to heaven, according to him, Purvapakshi. And Siddhanta, he has to refute that. That is going to be given in the next sutra that we will read tomorrow. Yo vedadau swara prokto vedante cha pratishtitah tasya prakatilinasya parasamaheshwarah purnamada purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavasishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.